I don't schedule any of my Instagram posts in advance, but I still manage to plan out my feed and keep it cohesive and aesthetic. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how I managed to do that using Adobe Illustrator. Hello, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Kinsey. I'm the brand and web designer behind Kinsey Green Design. And if you're not new, as always, welcome back. For this tutorial, you will need your brand fonts, brand colors, access to Adobe Illustrator, and a rough idea of the type of content you want to create. Now that we've gone over the basic things you need in order to follow along with this tutorial, let's hop on into Illustrator. Before we open up Illustrator, we are actually going to go to the internet and go to our Instagram page. Once there, you're going to want to zoom out, and I typically like to zoom out to where I can see at least the first 12 squares or so. You're then going to want to screenshot the first few squares on your feed. This is Command-Shift-4 on a Mac. If you're not on a Mac, I don't know what to tell you. After you have that screenshot, you can then go to Illustrator and click File, New. It really does not matter what size your artboards are because we are going to resize the artboard to fit your feed. Once you have Illustrator opened up, you can then place the screenshot that you just took onto the artboard. And after you place it in there, you're going to want to increase its size a bit more so you can really see those photos. You can use the artboard tool to your left to resize the artboard to better fit the grid that you just placed in there. I cropped this a little bit so when I centered it, it would be exactly in the center of my artboard. Now use the rectangle shape tool to make a square that's almost the exact same size as the grid photos from your feed. Once you have it at the same size, you can then click Alt, Shift, and drag to create copies of that same square. This is where your new content is going to go. Now it's time to bring in your brand colors. Those are all of my brand colors right there, and I do have two fun bonus colors I like to throw into my feed every now and then to keep it interesting. And you're going to want to make sure your brand fonts are installed on your computer. Once you have multiple squares, you can start changing them to your brand colors and add photos to your Illustrator file. You can then use Command-7 to clip the photo behind the actual square shape. You're also going to want to create a few reusable social media templates. Those are the three that I typically use over there to the left in the places in which I'm not posting an actual photo. And other than that, I will sometimes incorporate a logo or actual client branding work that I am currently working on. With every single post, it's important to remember that you always want to educate, entertain, or tell a story, which is something I strive to do every time I make a post. It's also helpful to have a few categories that relate to your industry that you can derive post ideas from. For example, my different categories are business, entrepreneurship, branding, website design, and strategy. I ensure that I often rotate between these topics, and rarely will I make a post that's purely about selling or asking for people to book a spot with me. A good rule of thumb is to provide value 80% of the time and sell 20% of the time. Although I plan out my Instagram feed right here, I actually manually create my posts every single day. So sometimes I may have a template lined up in a square, but I may not actually know what I'm going to say within that template until the day I am ready to post it. I prefer to do this instead of scheduling my posts because it allows me to create really inspired, authentic content instead of planning out my posts and captions in advance with maybe less enthusiasm. Here's a little bonus tip. If you would like to post a reel, you can actually use one of your photos, take the photo, drop it into a 1920 by 1080 reel template like I'm doing here with a clipping mask that is a perfect square in the center and your reel title at the top. That way this will still show up on your feed as a photo, but when somebody views the reel section of your profile, it will have a title and look like a normal Instagram reel. Typically my IG planner Instagram file looks pretty messy like this, but that's okay, and it allows me to be really creative with the content I make. And that is it for how I plan out my Instagram feed. I will typically revisit this same Adobe Illustrator file nearly every single day when I get ready to post, and it has allowed me to really keep my feed cohesive and consistent and form it the way I want over the past few years. Hopefully you guys have found this video helpful. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, and I will see you in the next video.